Hello and welcome to another edition of CityTalk. My name is Tim Shaw, the Government Affairs Director here at the Pacific West Association of Realtors. Our guest today is the Mayor of Fullerton, Mayor Bruce Whitaker. Bruce, thank you for being here.
Thanks, Tim. Thanks for having me with you today.
When did you get elected to the City Council?
It was 2010, and I ran for a 2-year seat, the remainder of Sean Nelson's term. So then I was right back at it 2 years later, running for the 4-year seat. And now, last November, I was elected a third time for another 4-year seat through 2020.
Okay. So let's hear a little bit about Fullerton. Well, it's a pretty big city for our region. What is the population of Fullerton?
Well, I tell people that, yes, Fullerton is a larger city. You don't know until you're walking precincts and trying to cover. It's 142,000 people, about 22.3 square miles. Okay.
When I think about Fullerton, one of the things that comes to my mind right away is all the colleges and schools. Tell us a little bit about the colleges you have.
Well,
there.
The city's motto is the education community, and it's in part because we have good local public schools, very highly regarded, often among the very top tier, and our high schools are that way. But we have also the largest university in the California state system, Cal State University Fullerton. They just broke the 40,000 mark in students. And we have Fullerton College, which is the oldest community college and continuous operation in the state, 26,000 students or so. So when school's in session, we have a pretty big influx of still largely commuter students.
Well, I had to ask about that. My wife went to Fullerton College and Cal State Fullerton, so it's very much in our family. So
sports success is there in your family then as well. That's
yes.
Good. Yeah, we like to root for both teams.
Now, I know there's been quite an effort underway in Fullerton where we have the rail lines that come through Fullerton, and they're taking some of the roads and putting them under the rail lines or over the rail lines. Those great separation projects, and right. They're very disruptive while they're under construction, of course. And can you tell us about how those are going?
Well, and the time frame tends to extend out. I remember when I was last mayor, I'm serving my second term as mayor, but when I was last mayor in 2013, I was given the information that those arterials, State College and Raymond, would be closed for 2 years. And now it's 2017, and the completion won't be until next year, 2018. So by my math, that's closer to 5 years. But it's been a major disruption of the normal traffic patterns, and we look forward to that being completed soon. I know previous projects' completion have just made it a whole different experience.
Now there's a couple of projects I wanted to ask specifically in Fullerton. So there's one site off of Harbor, the whole Beckman Complex. It's a very big parcel, and a lot of people might think that's actually in La Habra, but it's really that side of Harbor is Fullerton. So what can you tell us about what's going on there at Beckman?
Yes, and you're right. Many people are surprised to find out that's Fullerton, and historically, you know, it's been all industrial, so no precincts to walk in that area. But there was an effort by elements of the city government advisory committees and the Chamber of Commerce to ensure that we do maintain adequate space in the city, balance for industrial and research type businesses. And we're really hopeful that that may become a center of a sort. You can't really dictate the market. All you can do is kind of create the canvas and then hope that someone comes in to make their own future business history out of that. But it's an important effort to maintain some amount of balance in the city.
Now, being the Realtor Association, I got to ask about housing, of course. So you've got quite a big property there in Fullerton that had been an oil operation for many years, and now it's been kind of proposed for housing, but it's been a very tortured process. So this is, of course, Coyote Hill. So what can you tell us about that project? Did I do it justice?
I think you did, and that is a great way that you put it. It's a bit of a Rorschach test, I think, as far as real estate goes. Some people see a depleted oil field of mostly non-native species and everything that needs remediation and needs to be effectively reused. Some people see it as pristine open space and the last sizable chunk of open space in northern Orange County. So that's led to this dynamic, a real tug of war over the last several years about whether to have any amount of development at all on that site. we have severe housing shortage in the state. We have requirements to provide workforce housing and other strata of housing which maintain some supply to keep more affordability, or at least some affordability in the system. So to take that 510 acres and to exclude any amount of development, I think is a fairly extreme approach. But that's what we've been battling for some time. And as you know, in this environmentally conscious state, there is a very strong lobby that has wanted 100% of that property for some time. We'll be discussing it at our next council meeting.
So as we sit here in the middle of 2017, we don't know what will be built, when it will be built, or we're still a little...
Well, the last action by the Fullerton City Council was a unanimous vote to a path forward plan, it was called, which still anticipates a sizable amount of development, not acreage-wise. Really more and more is being dedicated to open space. The original plan was 55% was going to be dedicated to open space, and I said, well, the gnatcatcher is still the largest property owner up there if that happens. So even the people who would be looking to purchase residences in that area, should they be developed, would benefit from that amount of open space. So no one really opposes that. But there seems to be an all or nothing approach by the people who want to preserve, and they're very passionate.
Okay.
But there is a property owner involved too. That's one of the misnomers about the entire Coyote Hills thing. When it went to the vote and it stalled the plans, the development plans that were in place at that time, many people in the public, I think, were confused. They were asked the question of, gee, would you prefer a park or development? And the impression was that the city controlled the property or owns the property. But of course the city doesn't. And if you ask the average citizen, what would you rather have, huge new development or a park? That's a little bit of a no-brainer most of the time for people. But the property owner does have rights, and that's been part of the equation all along for me.
Well, that's great, yeah. And of course we appreciate property rights here, so thank you for that. Is there any message you'd like to convey to realtors or folks who might be watching this?
Well, I don't want to get too political, but just from a business standpoint, we live in a state which is generally acknowledged to have a very high cost of living. And some of that cost is exacerbated by government actions, whether it be at the state or county or regional or municipal level. And all of the people who represent us in that, and us being residents and businesses and visitors to the area and everything, have a role in trying to maintain cost control that keeps the area more livable and allows young families and young people to be able to afford to become real estate investors. You can do that two ways. You can do it the subsidy route, which is redistribution of income to create some kind of a subsidy, which generally limits people's choices and isn't really sustainable in the long haul, in my opinion. It's so much better to use market forces and allow market forces to create the type of housing that people want, and to keep the burden lower so that people can have jobs that are high paying enough to be able to afford that real estate. So my message to realtors is you really can't afford to be on the sidelines of these issues. You need to be out front and say, we have an interest in maintaining a healthy economy, and if we maintain that healthy economy, then we have a really healthy real estate market that grows and prospers.
Well, that was a great message, Bruce, so thank you, and I think you really hit a chord with me and probably our members, so that was great. So, Mayor Bruce Whitaker, Mayor of Fullerton, we're very happy to have had you, and we will see you all next time.